Hey guys, it's your boy, Baldface8020, back again with another great commentary. So, I had wanted to do a video about Andrew Tate, even though it's like 2 years out of date now, since he's been big. I just never got around to it. And, hopefully I'll make something about him eventually. But, there's, Pearl Davis, I'm out of date with her too. I mean, when she like became like a big deal, like 6 months ago, right? And, and it's not, and it's not like I got a tremendous amount to say about her. It's probably be a really short video, but I did, just wanted to at least address her. And, so I guess the first thing that comes to mind with, Pearl is I mean, she's a piece of work, obviously, but I kind of admire the hustle. Like, on one hand, it's bad because, she's basically selling her soul. But on the other hand, like, when, the people who've done research on her and looked her up, like, knew that what she had said, like, when she's 26 now, I think, right? Maybe 27, I don't know. And we got an interview with her from like back 3 years ago when she was 23. And she said she just wanted to make it as some kind of influencer. She didn't know what, she just wanted to make it as some kind of influencer. And we know that her views were, pretty much kind of like normie, moderate lib femme views. That's what her views are. And then she makes this career for herself just regurgitating manosphere talking points. And so like I said earlier, like, you think she doesn't believe this stuff, right? And so she kind of like, when you're doing something that's, like promoting something that you don't believe in to be famous or rich or whatever, she already is rich. She comes from money. That's that's, well, I mean, like I said, you're selling your soul. And, so that's not good. But on the other hand, she did succeed in what she wanted to do. And, it's like, yeah, kind of like a really cheap back end way, but she did do it. And like, part of me kind of admires that. Like, I guess it's not, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what to make of that. As for the stuff she says, standard fresh in the fit stuff, how we know she doesn't believe this stuff? Well, we got at least one video of her talking about Fresh in the Fit where she says they say that they want to only marry a virgin, but I know girls who have waited until marriage and they would never get with guys like Fresh and Fit. So, I mean, she's basically like a normal person who like knows that, fresh and fit are, and I don't know, I know those of us on the right aren't supposed to use this word, but toxic. And then we also had the thing with her ex-best friend from college or whatever. I think they were roommates too, or housemates. And she said that, Pearl doesn't believe any of this stuff. Or at least she didn't believe that stuff back when they were friends. And, now they're totally incommunicado. It sounds like, but she said that, like, when she confronted Pearl about, like, some body shaming stuff she had done, and, like, saying that we need to, like, shame fat girls so they lose weight or something, that Pearl actually had backed it up, like, had, like, defended what she said. So, she thought it was possible that maybe Pearl had come to believe in some of that stuff. And that gets me to, like, the biggest concern I've always had with the manosphere is not what it's going to potentially do to young guys. And, like, because it can hurt them too. But who I worry about the most is how the way it can damage, women, particularly younger women who get involved in it. And, because at least like when the manosphere is telling young men to hate women, it's still hate directed outward. And these are guys who already hate themselves anyway. So like in some sense, it's actually doing them, like, it's actually good because you're taking the inward hate and pushing it outward. But for women, it's making them, teaching them to hate themselves. And that often leads not to them to just making bad decisions, career, whatever, and, self-hate on its own, which can lead to depression and stuff, but like potentially getting with guys who are outright dangerous for them. And because, I've seen girls who I know are pretty smart and like have stuff going for them, but like still, like, because they're maybe a little weird or a little offbeat or something, they check out the manosphere and they can kind of relate to it because maybe in some ways maybe they relate to guys better than they do to other girls, and they start to internalize some of this stuff. And it's really dangerous because I'm not saying that there can't be a place for men to talk about their issues, even if it's stuff that I disagree with. That I'm not worried about that. That's obviously I'm all for that. What I'm worried about is anybody, man or woman, particularly woman though, thinking that like the manosphere has got anything valuable to say about relationships. Relationships are their own thing. Like I don't care if, even if, let's say Rollo's right about everything. Okay. We live in some gynocentric dystopia. All women are feminists. They're oppressing men. We've been robbed of our masculinity. Let's just say all that's true, because I don't have a problem with any of that. Okay. It's not, I don't agree with it, but whatever. There's nothing, he's entitled to his opinion. It's not hurting anybody. Well, I think maybe it's hurting him and his viewers, but it's not really hurting anybody. But men can have those issues, have those conversations. I'm not saying you can't talk about that shit, but even if all that stuff's true, you leave it out of the relationships. Okay, like a relationship is its own thing. There's no like one right way to have a relationship or something. And who was it that like right-wing influencer? What's that guy's name? Really Unfunny. He's that guy who like used to always do that, like, like go to college campuses with the like trans aren't real women, change my mind type thing. What was that guy's name? But I don't know. But he got busted, like, treating his pregnant wife like shit. And then one of the things he's saying to her, I guess on their Ring doorbell camera or whatever, I don't know, is you're not respecting my masculinity. Like that's where this shit gets you. Like leave it that's like every relationship's different. That kind of language isn't appropriate for any relationship, for the cringe factor alone, and so yeah, like believe what you want to do what you want, but like, a relationship is its own thing, look, even Rollo himself has a marriage, and it sounds like he's got a marriage and a daughter who he's got a good relationship with, and he it sounds like his wife mostly financially supports him. So, like, again, do you, but like, again, for the millionth time, leave it out of the relationships. That's where the red pill really becomes dangerous. The red pill and the manosphere really become dangerous when they take that shit into relationships. There's always problems. There's problems with it anyway, but taking it into a relationship, it really becomes damaging, because you will not have a good relationship long-term based on the red pill. Okay. Absolutely not. Like, and this isn't like I'm not trying to, because it's so easy to misinterpret what I'm saying as some kind of like, almost a feminist type thing. I don't mean it in that sense. Okay. You can have a good relationship in rural Afghanistan under the Taliban. I don't think it's for most people. It's not ideal in my opinion, but you can have a good relationship in there. You can have a good, like, based on the most fanatical form of fundamentalist Islam. You can have a good relationship there. As problematic as it may be in other ways. You cannot have a good relationship with the red pill. It's just not applicable. And you try to do it, it's going to be a complete disaster. And again, like what I was trying to say is, I've seen girls who've bought into this shit. And, and they try to do it like the shit that like Pearl is saying. And yeah, I know she probably doesn't believe it because a lot, and this is one of the problems with trolling, because Pearl, she's very similar to I mean, in a lot of ways she's different, but she's very similar to somebody like Andrew Tate and Nick Fuentes. And Tate and Fuentes get away with saying a lot of stuff because people just think, oh, well, they're trolling. And, it's totally, I mean, correctly, obviously a lot of what they're doing is trolling. However, like, it's one of those things where you say it long enough and you start to believe it. And my guess is, and I, as somebody who's said trollish things his entire life, that if you get Pearl, Tate, and Fuentes, they themselves don't know where the trolling stops and where the real stuff begins. Like, some things they're saying just to be edgy, but then they also like kind of believe it. And so like with Pearl's doing that, she's doing like, she has to say more and more extreme stuff to get attention. But I was really confused when I first saw her and like saw that she was popular, because I was like, I'm not gonna bash her looks. I don't think she's ugly, but she's, plain as the day is long. Which is fine. Nothing wrong with being plain looking. I'm certainly not a pinup. I'm just saying, but like, so I'm saying, like, why is this like totally plain looking girl who's not even that young? She's like 25 or 26. And I didn't know at the time, but she's also like really big. She's like 6 feet tall with like a really big frame. Why is she like this big deal? Like, and it really is because there really aren't. I mean, it's amazing that this hasn't happened yet, but there's no other women, or at least young women, who have, like, you've got young women who like will go and like promote trad lifestyle and stuff, and like, so, but like Pearl like skips all that shit. Pearl just goes out. She's just like this totally normal Western woman, and just goes out and just bashes women, period. No, she doesn't do any of this shit like Lauren Chen or Lauren Southern do, where they try to say that like traditionalism is good for women. Like, she doesn't bother with any of that traditionalism stuff. She's more like Andrew Tate and that or the Fresh and the Fit guys. And that basically what she does is she goes and she just regurgitates what Fresh and the Fit say. And what they say is stupid too. But like, the thing is, they're guys saying it. A girl saying it, I guess, just blows so many people's minds that a lot of guys go and watch her. Like, I mean, because, they can get the exact, anything she said, Fresh and the Fit have already said a million times. But, that goes to show you, like, what kind of mental state a lot of these guys are in. That, like, just seeing a woman, or hearing a woman say the stuff that they've been saying is, like, really cathartic to them. And, it goes back, to what I said about the red pill certainly being very dangerous for men as well, just in a different way. So yeah, I mean, but really, like, when you see Pearl's success, what surprises me is not that there's a woman willing to do what she does. It's that nobody thought of it earlier. That's really what I think when I see her. So yeah, that's all for now, and I'll see you in the next.